It just doesn't even work. It doesn't want to work. I swear to God, this fucking button. I swear, it's there.
It's time for
It worked, Josh.
Yay!
And we're live.
It's just okay. This button doesn't like me, but hello, welcome to episode 122 of Murder Moose Podcast, part of the Slasher Cast Podcast Network.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
I made a button for that. For no reason.
No, Josh, you do everything you do like is fun, but like you don't always have reasons, which is fine because we're all ADHD as fuck. So we do shit like.
So I make a button that it's in the game.
Yeah. That's like when I did the picture of a penis and put a top hat and mustache and cape on him. Like there was no reason I did that, but I did it anyways because
No reason.
I mean it was funny. I mean that was really the reason, but that's all that matters, right? That's all
It's
that matters.
beautiful.
What's new? What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa. Whole
Well.
lot of nothing.
Ken's been killing things in space since Friday for the Dead Space remake.
Yeah, for like the third time, I guess. I mean, it's good. I like the remake. It's fun, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I was having so much fucking fun with Graveyard Keeper and then Forspoken or whatever the hell that game is. That was really fun too, and I didn't finish that. I got like 120 hours in Graveyard Keeper, and I'm so close to being done with it.
You finish that up soon, man, because that game. That's even without all your DLC. You've been playing that. It seems like since like November. I know it hasn't been that long, but it's that game you put so many hours into it. It's like damn,
I have,
this game
and
is long.
it's so close to being done. I was actually with some of the DLC. It's almost done, but I fucking love that game. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I didn't.
Every time I because that City Skylines, anytime that it's around me, and I probably might play some tonight, and it's been a while because of the floors and everything that I had to get done and all that stuff. But there's been like an extended period of no gaming, and now I'm like in this, what else can I do? It's like really cheap to change this wall in my house, so I'm like putting panels up on my, the like wood panel to make like squares. Yeah, ADHD power up, and I'm like, I'm gonna see how I can get tile in my bathroom next, or just whatever. Just try to fucking get all these, like, because I made the main floor look so good now. There's all these little things that I'm like tidying up this like a corner of something that I've lived with for 16 years, and it's like, fuck, that looks so good. Why didn't I just fucking do that? And now I'm going around my house going like, no, fuck that thing. It's getting fucking done. I don't know why this isn't done, and it's all getting done now. So sweet.
That's awesome. You want to come do my bathroom? Because I've had flooring in the kitchen for my bathroom for like 2 months, but I put together my squat rack yesterday. So
Yeah, but that'll get used right away. Well, I understand too. Like, cause like I said, it's been 16 years for a lot of different projects that it's like, it doesn't look that bad, whatever. And now that it's like, I had a huge hole in my floor because of backing up pipes and stuff, and insurance had to be called and all that stuff. So it's like to have like your whole kitchen not exist and like stubbing your foot on like the subfloor and stuff. Yeah, it prompted the actual projects to get done. So yeah, whatever.
That all that stuff is like stuff that because next month I've been in this house for 10 years and I'm like there's so much shit that I'm like, especially when the foundation a couple years like shifted and I'm just like
yeah, you own it. It's your problem.
yeah.
$25,000 to fix the fucking foundation.
I'm basically at this point where I'm like, yeah, I basically need the housing market to crash so that which is they keep saying it's going to, so that the mortgage rates go down again, so I can refinance and
That's what I want to do.
Yeah,
But I don't own the house.
Yeah, but HT does, right? So like it's
Yeah.
it's the same fucking like that means when you want it, that means HT wants it because
Yeah.
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 Because HT knows what's up.
Yeah.
He knows what's up. His one testicle, he knows. He knows.
You know.
Dude, okay, guys, I had the craziest week last week for movie posters in general. Just
Oh yeah, you had all those projects going on. Tell us about it.
yeah. So we had On the Sheet. I don't know. You've definitely seen her work. SG Posters was the one putting it on, and there was I think at the end of it there was like 70 plus artists from around the world all submitting to this On the Sheet, and it was really cool to I don't know, like I felt like a Power Ranger of poster thing. Like we all assembled and did like our own thing, and we were the character on those posters, but we all came together for this one project, and it was this mega thing, and we were all helping each other out. I met so many cool people, and like I don't know, because I dump and run on all social medias, and I felt social for the first time in a long time on social media, like following
Yeah.
a shit ton of people and talking to more people in my niche and stuff. And it felt really good to find my people and just like high five a bunch of people for like just fucking killing it with
Did you guys dick
posters.
slap? Where you like, you bang your dicks
Of
together?
course,
to, like,
but that's
to, like,
that's a given, right? And then
Tummy
we do it-
sticks.
I feel like I've found a groove at work too, because like I had this thing where I felt like I wasn't allowed to do my own thing poster wise at work as well, and like for me, super ADHD as fuck. I need to have something I'm working on at the same time as actual work, and now I'm like doing that every single day. So you're I didn't notice.
I was fisting you for like 30
Oh.
seconds. I was like,
I didn't know what you were doing.
I'm fisting Josh on video. If you don't watch us on YouTube,
So if you
It's
didn't
happening.
notice, I'm doing like a fuck ton of posters right now. Like every
Yeah.
day I do like at least one. This Midsommar one that I did at the same time as one of the Oscar ones that I'm doing for all the Best Picture nominees. So I'm doing like 10 posters outside of horror movies. And
yeah,
wow, it's been so fun.
it's funny because all those Oscar stuffs are through, and then there's like all I know, like the horror films, of course, got no nominations yet again. Even like fucking Maya Rudolph. I mean, no, what do you call it? Pearl.
Mia
so-
Goth.
Mia Goth. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I don't really care about many of these things. Like, I do want to see The Whale just because I want to see fat Brendan Fraser because,
The Fablemans is really good. Check it out.
yeah, that's what you said. I want to see that. I do want to see that. But like,
I only have 2 movies left on the top or on their top list, like the nominees
Yeah.
list for Best Picture, which I didn't assume. Check out Triangle of Sadness too. You'll fucking love it. It's such a good movie.
but it's sadness.
No, it's not. It's so funny and so quirky and so
Yeah.
like not what you expect it's going to be, and it's so good.
And now all I can think about is the movie Triangle, which is fucking trippy as hell. Have you either one of you seen that Triangle, where it's like the time loop and like whatever, like it's like a slasher on a boat but with time loops, and very very weird, but like very very confusing, but also really really cool. I think it's called Triangle because like Bermuda Triangle. So like yeah, I think this is why it was called that. But yep,
No.
yeah.
And-
there's
Oh wait, and then we also had our awesome buddy from Twitter let us know about Boogeyman today.
Yep.
What did you guys watch it, and what do you think?
I didn't watch
'Cause
the trailer. I don't watch
didn't watch it
trailers if I
yet.
could avoid it. Like,
you don't want to?
No, I don't want to watch trailers, man. Like I am so fucking sick of fucking movies ruining the fucking
No,
like
they didn't show much, which is good because
the only time I go out of my way to watch trailers now is like Marvel, because Marvel's gonna blow it all. Like I'm gonna see that shit all over YouTube.
it's the
or
exact
Twitter
same
or whatever.
trailer
Yeah, I know
every
exactly. That's
time
why-
for every Marvel movie. Anyways, they use the same song now. Dun, 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 dun. Boom. Generic title here. Boom. Fuck off. I'm over it.
but now you have Jonathan Myers blue blasting all over everyone's faces, so we're okay.
I used to get excited for Marvel movies. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck off. Just go away. I don't give a shit.
I mean, I'll see them all regardless,
Yeah.
but like,
Well,
it's-
I don't have a desire to see She-Hulk,
No,
but like
I
all
like
the
She-Hulk.
rest of
That's a show.
them- Well, I know, but it's in the universe, and then it's going to roll into a movie. Just like I don't really have a desire to watch the Hawkeye show.
that was all right. Wasn't
Hawkeye
bad.
had Pizza the dog, which is all that really matters. And Pizza the One-Eyed Dog is amazing. But no, She-Hulk was good, and I like the hatred of that show was fucking stupid, and it was fun and funny and broke the fourth wall, which I like. So I don't know, man. People just fucking hate on everything because Marvel's been on top so long now too. People are just like
Loki wasn't bad.
Oh no, I loved Loki, and
Well, Loki season 2 is coming out soon, and the whole TMA or TMV or DMV or DIC or PUSSY.
What are we
yeah,
talking about?
they're gonna be like they're gonna be like the characters in the
Oh,
Deadpool
the
3
TVA.
movie. The TVA, yeah.
TVA, which is funny because the
Time
TVA
variance.
is also here as the Tennessee Valley Authority. So every time that it's like the Time Variant Association or whatever authority, I always laughed. And they were
Yeah.
selling shirts that said like TVA with stuff, and I was like, I don't know. Anyway, it's stupid.
They
Whatever.
then put the little clock on there, Clocky or whatever the fuck that thing was called. So
Which
it's like
looks so much like Cappy from Fallout. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, even had that. Yeah, it had that retro style, like everything in Fallout too. So yeah. Okay. So Ken and I. Okay, we were going to do. We didn't. I didn't tweet it out, and luckily I didn't because we were like all confused until yesterday. Ken and I both went and saw Infinity Pool. Josh didn't get to see it yet. Ken made the mistake of going to see Infinity Pool with her 70-year-old mother-in-law, which sounds, especially after seeing it, like you were on drugs to make that decision. Maybe you didn't realize, and I didn't even realize that movie was going to be as wacko as it was. But yeah,
There are some scenes. There are some scenes. I mean,
We're gonna
it was great, but
we're gonna see gifs of "Come Here, Dog" for like years. Like I think that will stick in that out of
and
that
the
movie
rocks.
Yeah.
Well,
The
we're gonna
Rocks.
talk about it or next week anyway. So
Yeah. Well, I
Oh, we're
know.
talking about it now. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I have plans to see it on Thursday, I believe,
I-
or sometime this week.
I'm sitting there gonna be the next whenever we record and be like, because I watched it yesterday. And my brain's like, "Oh, don't melt, flashy lights, things happen.
Yeah, but rewatching this and sober this time, so like Midsommar,
Yeah.
like it's not. I was really not looking forward to rewatching this movie.
It's not a fun.
It's not a
movie.
fun movie to watch.
Sorry.
No.
But I'm glad I did because the context of watching it like extremely way too high to see a movie like this.
Yeah.
I miss so much because like I was there with friends having a good time. This was when Midsommar came out, it was in theaters, and I haven't smoked weed in it's almost 2 years now, and I really the subtleties of this movie and the art of Ari
Yeah.
Aster is like on full display in this movie. Like with his,
I-
he does this stuff in the background so well, and
Yeah.
those like flashbacks, especially like when there's like hallucinogens in being introduced and stuff, and like seeing the disturbing pictures that she is seeing in her head come into like all those things I kind of missed the first time. So I'm
Yeah.
really happy I got to see them again. And then I get to put my hat in the ring for the amazing Midsommar posters that I've
Yeah.
seen. And I think I like mine. So
I
Your
love
poster's really
yours.
good. I was wondering, and I was thinking about this as I was watching this Midsummer. Was Ari the one who started the bullshit with the twisting camera? Like it's like drones or something? Because every time we've done multiple horror movies in the last like year that they've done that, and it fucking messes. I think they do that in fucking
They do.
Infinity Pool.
They
It's like,
do.
they do
It
it in
makes me-
Smile too, though.
Yeah.
Remember?
I think so. It makes me fucking queasy. Like they have that
Mhm.
like. It's like they're taking the
It's
opening
supposed to
for
make
fucking.
you feel uneasy.
Yeah, and which this whole movie does, right? But like, especially the beginning.
This movie does
the beginning.
way better job of making you feel uneasy, super uncomfortable, and like
Super uncomfortable, yeah.
live in her anxiety. You feel it, and I felt anxiety rewatching this today. Like I was watching this, and I'm just like, I feel fucking.
The whole like thing with her, like I have this weird thing. Okay, so I hope I don't like upset anybody or alienate anybody, but like I have this weird thing with relationships where like if you're in a relationship for 2+ years, like I think that there's certain things that you kind of not necessarily expect of your partner, but like I don't think that it's a bad thing if you're gonna call your person you've been with for 4 years, as she said, because something terrible has happened or you're uneasy or are we hanging out tonight? I don't think like that's weird that it's like that they were upset about him getting calls for that. Like I would totally just show up at that. Like that's
He's got shitty fucking friends.
oh
and
my god, his
is,
friends are awful.
She is not okay. Like she is
No.
the biggest pushover, but it's abandonment issues and it's
Living with someone who's bipolar is hard. As coming from someone who's bipolar, I know that I'm a lot to handle and I know that it's difficult. So when she was talking about her sister and her boyfriend was like, oh, it's just for attention. And I'm like, you can't, better be careful because one of these times you're going to eat those words. And I was like, he's going to eat those fucking words. Like, not okay.
I still think that opening, like there's two
The
real,
opening.
like real, the opening is one of the, like it's fucked up what her
it
sister
reminds
does on a level.
me a lot of Hereditary in just like how like it is, right?
Yeah.
Like because the visuals are really disturbing.
Yeah. Dude, it reminds me almost like the Garbage Pail Kids where they find her sister with like the hose taped to her mouth and like just puke everywhere. They exploded, and then like one of her eyes has started to fucking like glaze over, and the other one is like whatever, and you're just like, and it's the parents who are both like, you don't ever see the parents very well, right? Because they're they're in their
They're in their bed,
the
dead.
dark bedroom, which is why later on.
Well, you do see
when
them
she's
later
fucking-
on.
She's the images, but like when she's tripping and she's like the lady goes by her and she's like, "Mom," you're like, huh? Because you never get a good enough like
Right.
vision of her mother, right? And so you're like, "Huh?" But then you see him again, but like even then it's like they're still dead bodies. It's not like you see like them like going to the mall and I'm gonna go like mall walking. No, you just see them like going, oh, like it's that thing, and you're just like,
Mall
no,
walking.
I have to wonder.
My
I do really
favorite
have to wonder-
pastime.
I know you're old man, Josh. We know. Like, I have to wonder, like, how fucked up Ari's like childhood was, or his family was, or like, I'm not saying it was. Like, it could have been completely normal. It's just like he takes trauma and like family. I mean, Hereditary is about like dealing with like loss of your mother, or, like family, and all this stuff. And this one's like about a breakup. People explain to me that it's about a breakup, and I'm like, I don't know what he's associating everything with it in this film, but I'm like, and then this Bew movie looks like a fucking like. They're making it look like a happy-go-lucky Joaquin Phoenix goes on a adventure movie, and I'm like, I do wonder. I also, after watching this again, I'm like, this man either did a lot of drugs or had friends that did a lot of drugs, and they're like explaining stuff to him, because every drug trip in this movie is just like
Bang on.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, watching her drug trips. So I haven't done like anything outside of weed, except I think one time I had something that was laced with something. But like even then, I haven't done like a lot of weed or anything.
Yeah.
But I accidentally ate too much of an edible of like THCO and Delta 9 and Delta 8 one night not too long ago. Watching her with things that were kind of like flowing and like all of that, I immediately started having a panic attack. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't, because that's how I felt, to the point like I was not okay at all. And I don't think you're supposed to react that way to, like, you know, THC, but like, holy fuck. So the whole time I'm watching her and I'm like, oh my God, I know how she feels. And so she's running around and she's like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. And I'm like, that's how I felt. And then yet you scream at the wall and the random frog. And yes, they are all laughing at you. And
so, I mean, so
it was a lot.
when weed got legalized here, they were like tons of 911 calls from people who ate edibles and like, this isn't working. I'm going to have more. And then would have and then they would call 911, be like, I'm going to die. Like they would literally call 911 from panicking from weed. And so that's why like they had to make them so they weren't like they don't look like gummy bears and like everything here. I think they said like read some article the other day about it, like or recently about it, and it was like everything has to have like THC stamped on it, so like you don't eat it by accident. Like no, you feeling like that is not like that is like when you do too much of weed, like edibles especially, you are like supposedly like, oh my God, I don't know, like I'm gonna die or I'm gonna like, it's just like anxiety because it's like it's your brain. I think it's like your brain overloading. It's like too much for your brain, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, she does like, that's why I've had people like back in the day, I had people offer me mushrooms, like, and I'm like, I was like terrified of what happens to her. I was like, nope, because that her reaction was why I was like, nope, nope, because I was like, the just like, and she fucking runs off into the woods, and you're like, how far are you going? What direction are you going? Where, like, it's that fucking pure terror of like that you run off and never to be found again with no context to anything.
The thing this movie does so well is unlikable characters.
Oh,
nobody is fucking likable in this fucking movie.
I still love when they're high and then Mark is like, you know, freaking out. He's like, everybody lay down. Yeah. Why aren't you laying down? I was like, that would be me.
That dude is, one, he's playing Adam Warlock in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but two,
he's been in a lot of video games.
He was also in that the weed movie with or the road trip movie with like Jennifer Aniston and Jason Bateman or whatever, like when they take the SUV down or the RV down to Mexico or something like that, and he was like one of the kids in that movie, and I'm just like, this dude plays dumbass so well, and it's just like
totally.
I've
seen him
in all the games too.
But I also watched what the fuck was that show? I don't remember. But the Josh character was in a show that I watched where they're in like hell on repeat or something with Ted Danson or Ted Danson.
Oh, you mean this is, I don't know.
And
I don't know what the fuck.
They couldn't swear. I don't know. It was a pretty funny show, actually.
I was looking at, all I see is The Peripheral, which I've never heard of, but dude, I that's what I always say about this movie. I'm like, this movie is really well done, beautifully shot, but you fucking hate every single character in the movie. Even like Florence Pugh's character is the most like sympathetic, but you just sit there and you go, The Good Place. You go, how are you letting this asshole just treat you like this, especially after? And so you're mad at her most of the time, and then like she goes, obviously fucking picks him at the end, and it's like, I feel like the ending of that movie with like when she walks and looks at that keyhole, you're like, this guy sucks.
Why would you even care at that point?
I mean, well, the thing is too, you kind of feel bad for him. You don't.
She cares too much about everything, and that's her problem.
But Christian got fucking drugged, man. Like he gets fucking drugged, and then they're like,
everything
"Oh, come
that
along,
happens
dear."
to him is just karma, because he's the fucking worst. When she's like confiding in him or telling him anything, and he's just like, "Yeah, that's interesting. So how can I fuck that other girl? Like, like right in front of her?"
No, he's like, she's like talking to him, and he's like, "So what do you guys think about incest?" And she's like,
Yeah.
looks at him like he's the fucking craziest motherfucker in the world, because it's like
Because he is.
it's also that ginger they had him fuck looks like she's about 14, and so they
Well,
like
she was really young. That was their
Yeah.
whole thing.
yeah, but like. What I didn't get with that because they had that whole life cycle thing, right? Like we're like, oh yeah, from whatever till like 18, you're a baby, and then like from 18 on, you're spring, and then from like 35 to 50, you're old, and then like at whatever 56 to like 72, and you don't live past 72. Which, by the way, reminded me of dinosaurs, because dinosaurs, there's like an episode of the first season, like 3 or 4 episodes in, where like once you hit 72. They throw you off a cliff into a tar pit because like basically you slowed down the you slowed down the herd, right? It's like you were like herds, and like so and I'm like, I swear it was 72, just like in like the movie where they're like, oh, you're 72, so like yeah, you get yeeted off a cliff now. And I'm just like, I wonder if he saw that, because it reminded me of that. But I have to say too, with the cliff, that dude, why did you jump off the cliff feet first, motherfucker? Like, you knew. The lady was like, YOLO, I know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm going right down, straight down.
She's on the poster. She's the one that I snuck in at the bottom, very small, into the blood.
Yeah.
There's her gnarly face right there.
Yeah, at least. But the dude goes and fucking like acts like he's jumping in the deep end of a pool, and it's like,
Well, he is. He totally was. He could have been tripping, because he tripped. What this makes it, in rewatching this though, because like I forgot how symmetrical and like beautiful Ari Aster films are, and in rewatching this, I'm like, oh, it's making me a lot more excited to see Bayou is Afraid, because like the trailer broke my mind just watching the trailer, but like I totally forgot about all the like trippy scenes in this, and like just he really knows how to manipulate things and make you feel on so many different levels, and that's what makes him such an amazing filmmaker. So him going outside of horror is going to be, or is it horror? I don't even know what it is, but
I don't. It looks like like I said, it reminded me of like a road buddy adventure comedy, but there's no way. Like maybe it is a comedy. I don't know, but I have to wonder in like.
I'm still excited.
With it, yeah. Do you think people call? Oh God, I just thought of something Kim said in an interview. But do you think that like?
It's his comedy, drama, horror.
Okay. Do you think that he got called out for Hereditary being too dark of a film? Like, because like all the scary shit in that movie is like in the dark time.
No,
like, you know,
I fucking loved it.
I'm curious, because he went, oh, okay, you don't think I could do this? Like, in the entire fucking Midsommar is like
bright and
yeah.
beautiful, and even like the terrifying scenes are bright, and
it's not an easy thing to do with a horror movie, right? It's like do everything in the sun and like in bright, and like he manages to fucking pull it off with this, with the like the lighting. I was Josh, as I was talking about, like you talking about the cinematography, right, and how perfect it is, and like how it just reminded me, because Infinity Pool does the Cronenberg does really weird, like he breaks the rules of 3 more than any film I've ever seen. Like he's breaking. He just breaks the rules of cinematography is all it comes down to. But like this film has it like so. It's so perfectly shot with everything, right? And it's textbook kind of, right, Josh?
I don't know about textbook. He definitely loves the use of symmetry in.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot about what like Kubrick did with like all the leading lines going in, and like the use of the triangle right dead center in the frame and stuff, and I love it. Like it's so aesthetically pleasing because it's so symmetrical, and humans love symmetry. So how like chaotic some of these scenes are, to like juxtapose it with so much like symmetry and stuff is it's art.
It is. I
Damn
mean,
it.
so another thought I had while rewatching this today, which I don't know if I'd thought about before, like, so all the people that like Danny and them go with, they're all directly responsible for their own fates, but Connie and Simon, why did Connie and Simon get taken out? Because like the only thing I could think of was that Simon like threw a hissy fit when the during the old people.
I think
Like-
he was just getting too vocal and was like announcing that he was leaving and he was going to tell everybody and all this stuff. And I think that they decided, well,
They were
I mean,
all
we're going to
going
get rid of you
anyways.
anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Like
We're
it
gonna get rid
didn't
of
matter.
you anyway.
It didn't matter what they did. They became like parts of the puzzle that were already there. And I think, like the jester, he was always the fuck up, and in the jester hat at the end. And like the one thing I do love, and I hit it in my poster as well at the top, that wall that is the spoiler of the whole movie. It tells in the
Yeah.
pictures behind them.
Yes.
I love that, like going in and knowing that now, like from people's deep dives on YouTube and stuff, like the wall behind them, like it's just, that's just clever and a big fuck you filmmaking wise as well. It's like, hey, I'm gonna spoil my movie in it, and you're not even gonna know, and
Yeah.
unless you're like super smart, that's like the highbrow filmmaking that Ari
Well, I mean,
Aster
even
loves.
then, you don't like you like to know that the story is built into those panels is like it's a lot, right? Like, because you just assume that they're these pagan rituals or whatnot, right? Like the ruins and all that shit. You just think everything is just like, oh, these are these crazy, but like, yeah, it's either A, it's gonna like you're foretelling the story, or B, you're like just telling the story of
Yeah.
what happens at these events, right? And
We're talking about the fabric wall, right? Where there's like,
Right above their beds
that the
and
wall?
stuff.
oh, yeah.
It's like
Hey-
in the background, and you see like the one that you can see the most is like when there's that confrontation between Josh and Christian, when he's
Yeah.
like, "What the hell? I told you I was doing my thesis on this," and blah blah blah. And right behind them is the picture of like legs with a dick, and it's just legs and a dick. And like right after
Oh, I
that,
didn't notice that.
yeah, like right after that, it's like he's like, "Mark, what are you doing? Like, we can't be in here. You're gonna get us caught." And it's just his legs and his dick, and then the guy's wearing his face as a mask. It's just
it was the like the inbred guy, right? Like that
Mhm.
was had his face on or like whatever. Like
he was trying to
also-
be normal.
he I guess he was like the thing with him was weird because then they're like, yeah, we just inbred like them, and it's like, ugh. But like,
That scene is so like the sounds that the Josh character is making after he gets
Yeah.
smashed is just and it like that's what this movie does, and made me so uncomfortable. There's so many scenes that just last a little longer than you
Yeah.
want it. Like you don't
Yeah.
want it to
Mhm.
last long at all anyways, but he knows that. So he makes makes you sit in it and stew in it. And the honestly, to me, in rewatching this, and I remember it for me as well, the worst part for me is that baby crying. Like just it's so unsettling, that
It's just
sound.
obnoxious and like
Yeah.
awkward and
And it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, someone just like take care of that baby. Like, it's so it like it gets me up to here. No, you don't need to be crying. Like, it's
Oh.
yeah, so unsettling.
so when I kind of take Josh, like that part with Josh, as like it's kind of weird. It's kind of like Josh was like finally like joining the colony kind of thing, because everything in the whole film is like this. Every time something happens, it's like this collective colony of like of one kind of thing, right? Like when the old dude jumped off and didn't die right away, they're like they in unison. They're like they make all those noises. And the same
Yes.
thing when Danny like finds Christian fucking the ginger, they're all like like it's all this like unity of everything. Is they're all, it's the concept of the whole is more important than the individual, right? It's like that's the whole this group, and that's why like the motherfucker's like brother or cousin, or they all call each other brothers, right? Like he just donates himself to being set afire, which is he fucks with you in that last scene so badly because the guy comes through and gives him that cream right in the tongue, and he's like, you see, you kind of think it's like pain relief or something like that or whatever, and then the one dude catches on fire and he's just like, ah! And it's like people, it's like the worst. I actually can't think of a worse death, I think, than being set alive, like burned alive like that. It like there's not many things that's pretty far up the list of like, I never want to be set on fire and burned alive, and you just go, like that is like the cliff stuff is horrible, right? But
There's so many horrible things in this.
well, dude, and let's talk about the worst thing in this whole movie when Christian is banging the ginger and the old like chunky lady comes up and starts like pushing his ass. And you're like, I don't know how this dude's keeping a boner with like
Because he's
8
high out
chicks
of
going,
his fucking mind.
yeah, that too. But all the chicks going, it's like,
And she reaches up and like grabs her mom, and then she's like touching him and stuff. Like,
All for one and
No.
one for all.
it's such a weird scene for so many reasons. One, they're just watching, right? And he's high as shit, like Kim said. 2, they just sit there and there's like young ladies and they're just like the widest variety of boobies and pussy that you'll ever see in like the little room. And then they're just like making weird noises while he's boning her. And then like he finishes up and he's like, I know why they do this because it's a movie and you have an erection and it's porn automatically. He's just running away with a floppy cock, and then he's like covering it up. Like, why are you covering your dick up? Like, dude, half the village just to watch you fuck this girl. Like, I don't think you need to cover your cock up. And it doesn't look like it looks like you're hanging pretty good for like some like who's not even erect. You're not like it looks like you should be pretty proud of yourself there, Christian. But like
in a weird, well, I guess not in a weird way, because I know that that's intended and whatever, but like it definitely felt really beautiful at the end. Like she found her home, she found where she belonged. I do have like a couple questions. The first one being, was she, without a shadow of a doubt, meant to be the Mayday Queen? And if so, like, what would have happened if she would have fallen too early?
I think she was. They had planned it, and they went along with like that she could stand up because those 2 bitches fell at the exact same time there. Like,
Yeah.
I am, because that was also the plan to get her away, so they could get Christian to bang the chick. Like that was their whole thing. Like no, he can't come with you because as soon as she rolls around, and
I
her
remember
like, in her little,
it's halfway. Okay.
her little like horse and wagon, but with no horse. As soon as she wanders off with them to like bless the crops, they put the flowers out. That was their whole like, okay, how do we get her? Oh, we can have her be like the maid, whatever. And yeah, you sit there. There's a lot of variables, right, Ken? Like she was high as shit during that too, like right. And so it's like you're sitting there going, well, she's high. There's a bunch of women just running around in circles. Like, dude, I would have tripped like hours ago. Like, I don't know how long she did that for, but.
Well, my other question was, the guy that brought them, I am blanking on his name.
It is Pell.
Pell. So
Pelle.
I know that probably like the whole reasoning for him being so attention focused on her was because she was intended to be like such an integral part of the community or whatever. But like part of me was hoping so bad that he was going to look at her. Cause like you just know that it's fucked up and something's, but like I wanted him so bad to look at her and be like, run, please run, but then at the same time, I know why he didn't, but
Yeah, because he wants her. I mean, that's why he kisses her after she becomes the queen and all that shit,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I think that like he had it in his mind because that's why he did the drawing of her, and that's like
That
why
she was gonna.
he was the only one who was excited enough because I don't know. It's like you had to think that guy hated those motherfuckers just as bad as like just was putting up with them to get him to come along to like.
They're such terrible people. Like,
Well, that was the thing. Like, why would you? I don't know. Okay, I can't say that. I was going to say, why would you just go with somebody to another country, to a commune? But I mean, I guess if I was 25, 26, 27, God, I'm aging myself really bad. I would go. I mean, I went to conventions, just dove head first straight in.
Aren't you
with
the youngest
nowhere
one
to stay.
here?
Yeah,
Shut
she
up.
is. Also, TwitchCon's in Vegas this year.
Oh, that'll be a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, we lost Josh.
I've been to Vegas tons.
I love Vegas, but at the same time, I have no reason to be in Vegas anymore. So
The last few times
Yeah,
I went
don't-
was for work, so it
yeah,
I've
the
never
last
been to
time I
Vegas.
was there, I went for a SteelSeries photo shoot thing there last year, and I was like, I don't drink anymore, and I don't really have money to gamble. So I'm gonna go out to dinner by myself and walk around, and then go sleep.
Yeah, that's like what
that
I'm
sounds like
I,
it would be for me.
It was great.
I just want food and to like see friends. That's like
Yeah.
my end goal. I'm like, okay, I could do food and flights are going to be way cheaper, and they're not going to be you're not going to be paid $250 at least a night for a fucking hotel room either.
Right.
So
Vegas
those
is super cheap for all that
Yeah.
stuff.
That's true. It
supposedly.
only
They
cost
want
me
you
like
there.
$99.
Yeah, they want you
Yeah.
there so you gamble your money away. So they make getting
Right.
there super cheap and staying there super cheap.
and
I get
don't
emails all the time from Luxor that are like, "Come stay with us for free. All you have to pay is the resort fee," and I'm like, $35 a night.
Yeah.
All right.
I did see Zeke tweeted out that after the announcement though he's like, I'm fucked because he's the worst blackjack player of all time, and I love him.
Oh
I'm
my
a
God, I didn't
poker
even
player.
think about that.
Yeah.
Dude,
They
you
don't like poker
imagine
players.
the number of streamers and content creators that have to go swing their big dicks around and be like, "Oh, look at how much money I made." And everybody's
I'm
gonna leave
XQC.
their- Sorry.
It's funny, Josh, as we're talking about how easy it is. I talked with KC the other day about flying to Calgary, and we're both like, why does it cost like $800 to fly to fucking Calgary? God damn it. God damn it.
I don't know,
God.
man.
It's like a 2-hour flight for us. A 2-hour flight, and it's still like they're just like bending you over and like bear fucking you. That poor bear, by the way. That bear
Why
didn't
didn't
hurt
you
anyone.
drive?
Bear didn't do anything.
Make a
Yeah,
road
why
trip
don't
out
you
of
just
it.
drive?
I don't know. Because it would
Well,
take
a
like
2-hour flight's like what, like 10 hours?
it would be
Yeah,
like
I've done it.
15 hours, I bet.
Dude, I've done it too. It doesn't mean I want to.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'd rather pay $300 and fly, like than like than spending like, especially with gas going up in price.
Yeah,
and
it'd
shit like
probably
that.
be
It's like,
just as much.
yeah.
Oh, and this is just fun. This is just fun. But speaking of which, if I drove somewhere and got in a car accident and it wasn't,
Oh.
technically life-threatening according to the hospital and the insurance company, and I'd pay for it out of pocket because fuck me, right? If
Fuck
I'm
me.
out of state, I don't have insurance coverage anymore unless the hospital and the insurance company deem it as actually life-threatening.
This
I don't
is-
want to go anywhere.
Yeah. We live in a world where my friend Vissy, who are my mods, who was just here visiting Katie and Zeke, and had a brain tumor, and they claimed it was elective surgery, getting her
Mhm.
brain tumor removed.
What?
Yep. A brain tumor. They said it was
Yep.
elective surgery.
And
We
did
have a
you?
friend who's
go
dying
to
right
court?
now.
I don't know.
We have a friend who's dying right now because he has cancer has just riddled his body, and they found out that the first place he went to gave him 3 months to live, and then he went to another place and they were like, "Oh yeah, we can take care of this," and they gave him a little bit longer time, and then they reached out to this other very well-known hospital, and they were like, "Yeah, we can absolutely do this, but you need to put down $250,000 as a retainer. And they were like, we don't have that kind of money. And the insurance company was like, well, these are your options. And they were all the ones that were like, yeah, you'll die in like 3 months.
This world is fucked, man. This world is fucked. This is like, you know, it's funny in transition back to this. It's like the beauty in a horrible movie. It's also beautiful at the same time because these people are like the exact opposite of the shit we're talking about. Where they're like, they put themselves, like I said, they put themselves, like the group in front of themselves. And it's just like, man. Also, that's another thing that's like, this movie is also kind of like shitting on like America and like not like capitalism in general, like where everyone puts themselves in front of everyone else. And they're, oh, I'm more important than everyone else. And these guys are like, no, you're not. And like, if you step out of line, like you're just like the dude peed on the ancient tree. Like, you know what's funny? Of everyone that got taken out in that movie, he was like the most annoying, but he was probably like, just like, you feel bad for him because you're like, he's an idiot. But like,
he's the fucking worst.
He peed on a tree. Like the black guy who was like, Josh is like, you're sitting there going, this is like the only likable character for most of the movie. And then he takes the pooch and just fucks it harder than any of them. Like he goes in and touches their sacred document and he's like,
and photographs it after being told numerous times. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Well, and let's be honest at this point. You've seen them hammer a motherfucker's head in. Your buddies just disappeared already. And you're still fucking with them, you fucking moron?
They're all idiots.
Yeah.
What do you like? Yeah. Seriously, they're all fucking idiots.
I do wonder if I was put into that situation or a situation. I mean, obviously, if you were put in that exact situation, but if you were put into a situation of like a similar event surrounding, like, would I react in the same way that they did? Like, even though, like, in my head, I want to be like, absolutely not. They're fucking stupid. Why the hell would I stay? But in my mind, I'm like, if I was in that situation, because I feel like I relate a lot to Danny in a lot of weird ways. But and she's definitely like a pushover, and she's definitely like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. We'll do it. It's totally fine. Whatever. Like, I'm the same way. Yeah. Would I have stayed? Like, would I have stuck around? How far? Because, like, am I going to wander off into the woods by myself? Like, I don't know. Would you have stayed?
No,
man. I think that's why Simon and Connie are the relatable characters.
And Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel, man, they love their weed and their folksy music. No, like that's why they're the most relatable because they're the ones that like they see the fucked up shit go down and they're like, nope. And you don't even know what happened to Connie, really, right? I mean, like, you just see her body.
Oh, she's in the pies. Absolutely in the pies. 100% in the pies.
I mean, Simon, they turned into fucking, like, they shoved dandelions or whatever in his fucking, or not dandelions.
Did, like, a Viking hanging of him.
Yeah, and you're just like, and it's like, you have to fucking assume that Mark, the jackass guy, didn't have it easy because, like, I mean, no one had it worse than Josh, I don't think, or Christian, but like, you're sitting there going, Josh had it easy. Josh was like, oh yeah, you're just gonna get smacked in the head once and you're gone, right? But it's like, and so they had their pilgrimage, right? Then whatever, they're like, so does that mean, like, is Danny and Pell gonna go back to college like after this? Like,
I don't think that Danny would, and I don't think Pell. Well, they said 18 to 36, right? So then they're considered children. Yeah. And they go on their pilgrimage and then they come back. So I guess when you come back, you're like there, but I don't know. It's very weird.
I was curious about all that, like with what the plans are and like what it's going to be, right? So
I wonder if there's any breakdown on it.
I don't know. I mean, Ari's kind of like, just like, oh, yep, this is it. And it's why, like, I think that, like, this film doesn't have as much of a, like, crazy backstory with, like, what's directly happening to the characters as, like, Hereditary. Mm-hmm. There's just, like, history of, like, everything that's happening, right? And so you just go, okay, these people are, like, fully committed to the pot. Like they're pot committed. They went all in, and you have to go. Okay. I don't know. I like Danny. I think Danny probably stays, like you're saying, but I don't know. Are they supposed to go back and finish their degrees? And I don't know. He's just like, I don't know. It's a whole like, what exactly? I mean, that's why she's sitting there smiling at the end, right? Like, I'm part of like, she's an ant in the colony now, right? She's like, one of us.
Well,
And
this
She
whole
definitely
movie,
needed that.
yeah.
like this movie is, just all the different stages of a breakup. Like they're going through it, they're whatever, and I feel like the end is her accepting that it is over, and this is a fucking great thing. And it's the acceptance part, because even before that she's still like but it's also like almost like a weird metaphor for grief as well, and like the different stages of grief. And like I feel like the smile at the end is finally just accepting like that things are gonna be fucking what they're gonna be regardless. I don't know. I think about things a little bit differently, and I'm like super not phased by so many things in my life now that I used to be, because of the amount of bullshit I've been through in my life now, that I feel like watching her and the way she reacts throughout this movie, and towards the end it is this thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm right there.
This is Josh. Now we need to Photoshop Josh. No, you know what? You have your Halloween costume, just you and the flowers, just going.
I want to do that now.
It's such a good look too, right?
It wouldn't be hard to do.
You would kill that, Ken. You would kill that.
I mean, it's a code. You'd put fake flowers on and a hat. Like, it'd be easy. It'd be really fun to do.
Let's see here. This is. Oh, here's the big poster. Ooh, you see the little Easter egg?
It's still hard to see like the face.
Whoop!
Yeah.
There it is.
Also, it's funny how much bigger
I see it now, yeah.
How much bigger Florence Pugh has gotten since this movie came out, right? Like, because she obviously was in the Marvel movies, so that's like a big thing. And
I
now,
love her in the Marvel movies.
Dude, she's so cool and everywhere. She goes to like film festivals in Europe and is walking around with her titties hanging out and not giving a fuck. And yeah. And now we just need someone to suck on her
she's hot as hell,
like Mia Goth. I mean,
I cannot wait for Josh to watch Infinity Pool. I cannot wait, because he's not gonna find it. He's gonna be like, not gonna find it as weird.
Yeah, this is the Elvis poster I did today. Wee
man. I'm seeing on Twitter women obsessed with that dude, Austin. What's his name? Austin, whatever. Who played?
Everybody gets a hard on over Elvis all the time. It doesn't matter if it's the real one
Austin
or a
Powers.
One.
No, Austin Powers is different, Josh. That's very different.
His name is Austin Powers. Okay.
What was I watching that I saw someone go up to like someone and go, now that the Halloween movies are over, do you think Michael Myers is going to make more Austin Powers movies? What the fuck was that? I don't know. I think it might have been a horror movie or something. I don't know what it was.
No, somebody asked that in chat one day.
Did they?
Yeah. They asked which one was better. And then they asked if they were going to be, yeah.
Do you think he's going to keep making movies? So Ken, I have to ask, like, what is like, were you in? So HT had never seen this either, then, right? What happened during the cliff scene? Because I feel like the cliff scene is like a very like what the fuck is about to what the fuck is going on? Like that scene is like,
what the fuck is going on?
Yep, as Josh said, it's one of the most like. It fucks with. I mean, the opening scene is fucked up, right? But like, that is more disconnected from everything because it's not happening like directly in like with our characters, right? Like it's a thing that her sister and all
it's
that
not
shit,
happening and then happening in reverse and then happening again.
Yeah. So yeah, what were you and HT doing when the cliff scene was happening?
I mean, we basically were just like right before it happened, or not right before, but like once they were at the table and they were drinking, I was like, these guys are gonna die. He's like, yep. And then they got up to the cliff, and I was like, these motherfuckers are gonna jump off this cliff. Like, that rock's too perfect. He's like, yep. And then they jumped, and I was like, hmm. And he's like, yep. And I was like, that though, like, imagine how awful it would feel. Because we just had a conversation the other day about what it would be like to jump out of a plane to your death, because we were listening to a comedian we're listening to Bill Burr talk about it. So I guess like we were just kind of like it's very rare that anything in movies anymore will make us go like, oh, but like usually we'll stop later and talk about it. But he was just kind of like, is this a horror movie? I thought this was supposed to be scary. And I'm like, it's getting there. Like, they just jumped off a cliff and bashed a guy's head. Okay.
You ever hear, and it's a true, like the stories about people who have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and who actually survived, and they go, yeah, I instantly regretted it as soon as they jumped off. Like it's that whole thing where like suicide people like regret like it once they do whatever, and you go, you're jumping off that cliff and you're like, you're fucked. And obviously more than one person had jumped off that cliff and like pulled an old dude and fucked it up.
Yeah, because otherwise, why would they have the hammer?
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, sometimes this goes badly. The lady was like, knew it was like, she's like, I'm belly flopping this motherfucker. Go, bam.
The sounds on that though were spectacular. When they hit, like the sound was just so good because it just wasn't overdone. It was just a.
Yep, and then they drown the sound out when they're hitting him in the head with the hammer, and it's just like. It did that thing like Josh. It was like it was kind of like the Terrifier 2 thing where like the heads feel like. They feel like you filled up a balloon with like spaghetti and meat sauce or something like that. Like yeah. His legs, man. I know how much you love broken leg scenes also, so that must have been like
well, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
the first time you saw it, I mean.
I feel like the attention to like over realism almost makes it less real in rewatching it, I guess. Because like the first time it was like, oh fuck, that's nuts. But because I was like just as fucked as all the characters in this movie, I guess. But this time I was like just there like, I've seen this. So now I'm looking for the glue. And I'm like, man, those are really well done like fakes. And like obviously not how he smushes, and because especially when it shows it in reverse, you see the glue more. You see the like that it's made of like silicone or whatever the fuck it's made of. But it's just so like it's that's an art in itself now. Like I love that special effects teams are that good now. That it's just like, oh my god. Imagine showing this to people like I just showed Friday the 13th part 1 to my nieces on Friday the 13th, and they're so Gen Z. They're just like, this is so fucking boring. There's nothing happening. I'm like, just wait till Kevin Bacon. He's the best. Okay, that was good. But everything else is just, it's laughable. Imagine like the people in the 80s or 70s or way early on, like that they're not desensitized like we all are, and haven't seen all the craziness, and showing them this movie or Hereditary, and just like the amount of people that literally would just die after seeing this. I like thinking about that.
It reminds me of like when I was really little, I was very sheltered, and I was getting up to go to school, and my dad was staying home from work for some reason, and he was watching a movie, and I don't remember what the movie was. I think I tried to look it up once and I couldn't find it, but there were these guys, and they were beating the shit out of this dude with baseball bats and like beating him into a grave. Like there was a grave, and they were just beating the shit out of him. I remember watching that as a little kid and getting sick, like physically violently ill, and did not know why. And I was just like, I kept puking, and my mom was like, okay, well, you're staying home from school today. And I wonder, like, I mean, obviously I was a kid, but I would assume that the reaction would be relatively the same.
Yeah. It's well, I mean, you don't expect it, right? Like you hear stories about people like, I mean, Josh and I were kind of laughing about it with Terrifier 2. People like, oh my God, it's passing. It's that like you're being desensitized, right? Like we've all watched crazy
Did
shit.
any of those people see fucking Terrifier 1? Like,
yeah, I know. That's what I'm.
Yeah,
What did you think was going to happen?
yeah.
I don't think they had. I think they were like, oh my God, this horror. Because nothing in Terrifier 2, nothing in
Compares.
the bedroom scene was gnarly. But when you have a clown sawing a woman in half with a handsaw vagina first, yep, and then and Bone Tomahawk where they split they fucking chop someone in half like that is it might actually be worse than the Terrifier one, but like it's like you just it. I mean, Josh, how many times on this whole podcast we've been doing this? We were like I think of things like the sadness, and like we're like you just go. It's like at this point,
so
it has to
extreme.
Be,
like the
yeah,
sadness
it has to be like,
would be one that I even when I talk about the sadness, it comes with like a fucking yellow warning sticker. Like I can't even talk to people about it without like putting up front. This is, and you know who I am, the most insanely extreme movie I've ever seen, and I have to put that there first because like you can't even talk about or get them even excited about a scene or two because the rest of it is just not okay.
I don't talk about that movie outside of you with you guys because I go, I don't want anybody else to get like I don't want to be the reason someone who shouldn't see the sadness sees the sadness. Like I don't want to be the reason that they go.
I made a poster and the movie used it. Like what?
Yep.
Like I should be like really proud, but I still. It's such a fucked up movie that I just know.
And in this movie, I mean, like the cliff scene is like it's like the first time you're like, what the fuck? But like this movie is more like uneasy, right? It's got that like uneasy feeling the whole time. And again, Kim saw Infinity Pool before I did, and she goes, yeah, it's not jump scary, but it's like uneasy. This same kind of thing. It's that like you feel uneasy and like you like off settled because you don't know what's gonna happen and you don't know what these characters that you like. Is there a likable character in this movie? I mean, maybe you can say that Danny, like at the end, like, but then you're like, oh, she just like she took her she had the chance to save her, even though he's her ex-boyfriend who just got caught fucking a ginger. She could have saved him, but instead, and she could have saved him over a villager that would have been like, cool, whatever. And instead she goes, oh no, you get to go in the bear suit and then be paralyzed and suffer what has to be one of the most miserable deaths possible. And you go, that okay, no, Danny's not Danny. Nope.
I will disagree with you there, and I will tell you why.
You are
so
go ahead.
My thought process, because I've had a lot of like internal conversations about this movie with myself. I love this movie, by the way. But I actually, like I said earlier, I relate to Danny for a lot of different ways. But when it got to the end and she had to make that decision, he was a shit-ass boyfriend from the beginning. He was a shit-ass dude. He had shit-ass friends. You could tell, she mentions it numerous times that she felt like she was leaning into him.
Yeah.
And I think by that point, she was just done. And in my mind, probably part of her thought process was, I can get rid of this asshole who's put me through all this. Or I could get rid of someone who I don't know, who's just innocent. And like, you know, in my mind, you know, because granted, he's not innocent because he's part of it, but he's innocent and he has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So why... You know, it's like in my mind, it made sense in a weird, twisted way. I'm not saying like that I'm going to be like, oh, fuck you, we're in a commune, get deaded just because I know you. But at the same time, she had just been through absolute hell. So
it like I was saying less that it's not understandable. It's more that like you go, I don't know how buddy I could be with you after this. You know what I mean? It's like that's the whole thing. It's like I've described this movie now for years as the movie that has no likable characters, and it's like it's such a weird film for me because it's gorgeous and it's creepy and it's unsettling. It's just like, and I would tell people to like to watch this movie. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, it's not like Josh and I we both said this. Like, it's like not like I don't know how often I'm gonna go revisit this film, and I haven't watched this. I think I watched it a couple times in a couple months after I first saw it, and I think about like I think the second time I watched it then was just to see somebody's reaction to the cliff scene. It was like the whole point of watching that. So I don't know. It's such a well done movie, but like just like Hereditary, like before it, where he does not. Ari Aster doesn't exactly embrace like the positives of people, right? He's like kind of shedding a light on like the bad quality. Like there aren't a lot of positive qualities of the characters in fucking Hereditary either, right? Like, and it's like that. It's more. They feel more like fleshed out than they do here because like in this movie, it's pretty much all negatives, right? Like how they treat each other, how they treat Danny, how Danny lets them treat her, like all those negatives, right? Like it's like, man, like I hope there's more like positive. Like Josh was reading like the description of the Bew movie, and it's like there's comedy aspects to them. Like I hope it is, and I hope it's. I think Joaquin Phoenix is a good character to like an actor to go put in that like weird world of like Ari Aster meets Oh Brother Where Art Thou or something like that. Like I like. Because they had a trailer before Infinity Pool yesterday, and I'm just like, this movie looks wild, man. And it's just like, he's such a cool filmmaker, but like I don't know. Have you guys been seeing people on Twitter going, "Oh, the girl will say she's like whatever," and her comfort movie is like, and they show like stuff like Hereditary and like and like weird like really fucked up horror movies, and it's like. I will appreciate Ari Aster and how I think Hereditary is still like I like more than Midsommar, but like a lot of that has to do with like I think that the pole scene is still one of the most shocking scenes, like not expected shocking scene like that I've ever seen, and it has that special place because I also saw that in the theater, which as you guys know is like it has that extra like pow on like the memory, right? But I don't know.
Yes.
Josh.
I don't know either. Yes.
I think I talked too much and Josh zoned out into ADHD land.
Huh? What?
What? Huh?
But yeah,
I should have like another button. Do do do.
The number you're trying to reach is disconnected. Cannot be reached. I don't know, man. It's like some Japanese horror. So give your your final like wrap up of what you because you really did like this and like it was your first
I love this movie.
Yeah. What was your you summary whatever you want to say about it before we go?
I think going into it knowing that it's a horror movie and it's so beautiful and bright is so unnerving because you're like, when is it going to happen? And I kind of wish that I wouldn't have known, but then like would I have watched it? I would have, but like I thought it was beautiful. I love all the hidden stuff. Like you had talked about some of the hidden things in it, and like I've just been flipping through and seeing different ones. I also am a sucker for anything that comes to like pagan rituals or cults or anything of that nature. I always have been. So, and like I said, I related a lot to Danny, and so it felt very close to home, I guess, in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed that.
No, it was in Sweden.
Also, I have to ask
I'm
you.
such
This is
a dick. I love it.
I did want to ask you again because as you mentioned earlier, does the bipolar sister doing what she did, does that like, because I know we've talked about that. It's like when we talked about this with like Pearl, right? Like and your own like bipolarness, like did that hit you extra hard? Is that, or was that something that you're like, oh, because you're sitting there going, and it's like shining on a light on like what can happen with someone with bipolar who isn't like, or isn't getting help, or the help isn't working, or all that stuff. And like what her sister does is just like that, because it's that the things with like bipolar, right, is like the super highs and super lows, right? And it's like you've talked about it, and your CK talk about it, like, and how like how good the highs are, but it's not worth how bad the lows are, right? And it's like, so I was just wondering, did that hit you? Like, I mean, that's just a powerful start of a movie, like that, like kind of this like connects to you and an issue you have to deal with on a daily basis.
It definitely hit, because when the email pops up and you're reading the email about what she said, I'm like, I've been like extremely almost manic to that point, because I feel like there's different types of mania that you go through when you're bipolar, but like I've been to that point and I've sent messages like that, and I look at it now and I'm like, whew, it hit me weird too, because it makes me feel bad in a way. But as I've gotten older and I've learned that, I'm going to have those moments and I just need to be prepared for it, but I need to be better equipped and not blame my actions on it necessarily. So, and like I said, like looking at it, I feel like it hit hard too, because I feel like they definitely were trying to show that Danny had a little bit of that same bipolar-esque feels to her. And so seeing her do certain actions, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense to me. And then everybody's like, no, that was weird. And I'm like, oh, well, oops. Like, it makes sense to me. I don't know.
I think her mental, like, because mental illness, right, is like often
it's genetic,
right? And so it kind of explains why she lets Christian walk all over her. And like, it's like, because
I hate watching those scenes though. Like, she folds to any type of pressure whatsoever and is just like, no, I'll just go along with it. It'll make me feel fucking terrible, but it doesn't matter because I'm accommodating. And it's like, oh, you don't, but she does it so well, and her acting, and this is before she's now a household name. This is before all that, and this is, I think, one of those movies that, well, as well as Ari Aster, people are like, no, I want to work. Let me work with you next. Me, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that they did a great job with that. And I think that's something else that happens too, at least from, sorry, I know that I'm going to like dive into something really quick.
You can never apologize for talking.
You just pulled
you were part of this.
Yeah. You just pulled a her. Don't say sorry.
Don't say sorry.
Take it back.
I think part of
you
it
take
too,
it back.
when you grow up with either a mental disorder or mental illness or whichever, or you are brought up in a household with somebody who's going through something along those lines, you tend to fold a lot easier because it's not worth the fights. It's not worth the battles. And from both sides of the fence. So, example, I grew up with someone who has extreme PTSD from a war, and like you just learn to fold because it's easier. It's safer. It's
a survival.
Not that I was ever any damage or danger, but like it was just easier. And then as you get older,
right?
Yeah,
like
exactly. You bring it through your life, and you don't want to put that same feeling on other people. And then so it definitely, I don't know, I related to her a lot, and it makes my emotions.
Well, that's why I asked you that, because I'm like, it's such a powerful scene there at the beginning, and it's just like, it's like disturbing, and like, but you sit there and you go, none of it's unrealistic. Like, I mean, the actions might be a little, it's hardcore, but it's like, and you just sit there and you go, it explains a lot. It's just like, it's heavy, man, and it's heavy for someone who doesn't have this or like hasn't lived around that. But like, then that's why
it's
I like
beautiful.
Yeah.
He captures it so well, at least in my opinion. And again, like, I know everybody's different. I know that like my form of bipolar disorder is different, and they're still doing a lot of different research on it. And like, I know that I will always be in a weird space with it. But like certain movies, like Smile really fucked me up for a lot of reasons along that same way, but it was still good.
Yeah.
This movie is beautiful.
Yeah.
And like the more that we talk about it, the more I'm like, God dang, this movie was good. Really quick side note, completely off topic. I have had, and if you are one of these people, I am totally calling your ass out right now. I've had numerous people lately come into the stream that I think have found me through Murder Moose. If you're gonna come in and quiz me on horror movies, can you just fucking not? Because gatekeeping is gross.
This is our horror expert, by the way. Like, she is our horror expert. So
Also,
it's just funny. I've had like 20 people in the last like couple weeks that have come in and been like, you like horror movies? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what's your favorite? And so like I'll name off some from different, time periods and different directors and whatever. And they're like, oh, well, what about this one? And I'm like, nah, that one was all right. I didn't like XYZ. And they're like, oh.
yeah,
Well, I guess you really actually like horror movies and you're not like one of those girls. And I'm like, fuck you. I can be one of those girls if I want to. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Fuck off. So don't come in
eat my
and think that you're
dick.
going to gatekeep me. Gatekeep me. Yeah,
exactly.
suck my prolapsed anus, you motherfucker. Like, I don't give a fuck.
There's a reason why Kin is here and part of this fucking show is because she knows what
she
she's
is
talking
our
about.
horror.
And
Just so we all know, that is a running inside joke, and you're welcome.
I love. That was such a good fucking introduction to you coming on the show too. It's like, hey, someone's listening. Fuck you.
also, at least you didn't come on and call Zeke dad. So here they
Oh,
That's true.
that
was beautiful.
That was
I love Katie.
that was a lot of fun having a guest and getting it to work. And I thought it worked well because Kin and I have the ability like this to just like, and then Rod and Casey had the ability to just, whoa, a mile a minute. And you and I were just like, yeah, okay. And it happened. But
And then
I
we
feel
could
like,
jump in when we felt
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
the perfect. I think it was a good hodgepodge. Like it
yes,
was a very
it,
good
there was no
group.
like stepping on toes. It was all just, but I feel like that's what I love about this podcast, among other things. But like we have the ability to just let it flow, let whatever's gonna happen, and not be particular about the stupid mundane shit that no one really has to be, but some human beings choose to be, and it doesn't have to be that way. I love hanging out with you guys and talking about cool movies. It's always a really fun thing, and Murder Moose is just, yes, it's love, and let the heart win.
Yeah. So if you come in and try to fuck with Kin about horror movies, like sit on a giant cock and spin.
Dildo.
We're gonna throw you. We're gonna throw you off a cliff, motherfucker. Feet first,
and then hit you in the head with dildos.
This is totally looping back, and I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I know I said sorry. We were talking about desensitizing. We were talking about desensitizing earlier when we were talking about like how we reacted to the cliff scene. It's just the same thing with video games. I have to take breaks from horror games because I get so desensitized that I'm just like.
But there's a formula to a lot of things. And I think like that's why movies like this and filmmakers like Ari Aster stand out. And it's got to be the same way with video games as well. There's a formula, and if you're playing it all the time, you're going to start to see it in the formulaic way that it's going. And it's like, you also burn yourself out from anything if you only do one thing. So it is what it is.
Let's be honest. There aren't that many great horror games that come out on a yearly basis, and it's like Kin knows, just like it's like okay, it's like one of the games I first started hanging out in her stream was the Happy Humbles Burger Time game, which is
such a good game.
Yeah, and one of the I played it a couple months back, and I had a blast with it. Yeah. It's like this. So it's like it's just like you see too much, and that's why like not every year is 2022 where every horror movie, like there were so many awesome horror movies. Sometimes you just get bummers of like shit movies and things that you don't find all that you're not that into, right?
You usually get like one good one or like two maybe. And
Dude, I mean,
for 2022, it was fucking insane. There was way too many.
2023 has started off pretty well, like with like Megan.
But Hollywood
and, like,
is starting to know.
And
like, James Wan and Blumhouse coming together, they know that horror movies have like we're genre freaks. It's like we're a huge community, but also like normal moviegoers will go out of their way to check out a brand new property that has no franchise attached to it whatsoever in the horror genre, because all those other rules that exist in other genres don't exist in horror. So you can have fun, you can take a lot more chances, and it's lower budget. So they allow filmmakers to be filmmakers in horror. And I feel like the mass audience knows and understands this as well. And it's like, you know what? Let's go see a good movie. It's horror.
So the one that you just made me one more question before we go. I wonder if they actually burnt that building down at the end, and if they did, it was probably by far the most expensive scene in that whole fucking film. Also, one of the better shots in the entire film was that weird transition of her going through that doorway from like the apartment, like when she was going to the bathroom, and it like transitioned into the door, the bathroom, in the airplane. So that's another cool shot.
It's just a jump cut.
Yeah, I know, but it's that jump cut that like it's a jump cut that's also transitioning scenes like that, where it's like using the door into the door of the bathroom and all that stuff. Yeah. So, okay, so we are doing Infinity Pool then next week, and Josh will be going to see it on Thursday. Maybe we try to record a little bit earlier. I don't know. I'm wondering, because Ken and I have seen it like yesterday and 2 days ago. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let us know and we'll figure something out. But
just watch the trailer again and then remember it.
I can watch recaps or read recaps or whatever, because I know that's out there.
That's true too. Okay.
I've reviewed a movie that I saw like months before at like a film festival.
How dare you?
You'll understand after Infinity Pool why my brain is going like it's an experience, Josh, and I hope you like it, because I enjoyed the shit out of it, but it's an experience. So, okay. So next week,
it's a Cronenberg. It's a Cronenberg.
It's dude.
It's a Cronenberg.
That was one, really loud, and two, your German is just terrible, Josh. Yes, Infinity Pool.
Cronenberg.
God damn it, Josh. Murdermoose.com. Murder Moose Pod on Twitter. Go to YouTube and look for Murder Moose, and you can find us there and give us a sub. We got a couple more subs. We're up to like 60 something now. So we're like,
oh my God.
We're at, let's see, 65. So we're 35. Wait, 35. If you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed,
it's never going to happen, Rod. It's never going to happen.
I'm going to pimp something out. So here we go. That's what that is. Go follow that. Yes. And continue is continue.com and stdmotel.com and stdhotel.com and onlynouns.com. And goddamn, what's the last one? Give me a second. Oh, quaintate.com. Yes.
Also, I cannot wait to talk about this and Infinity Pool so much.
So that's what I was laughing about when I said I remembered something Ken said, and I was the mouse spreader. Yep, the mouse spreader, which is, I think, in the trailer, but like.
It is. It's in the trailer. It's
I
all
didn't
over
watch
Twitter.
the trailer. I have no idea what I'm in for, and I love that.
Sweet.
I mean, I don't know if the trailer is going to do much. Yes. Okay. JoshWRB.com. JoshWRB on Twitter. Go follow both things. Follow Josh on Twitter or Instagram, where he does drumming and TikToks and all those things. Find Josh everywhere. I am on Twitter at Rod_Johnston and Twitch and all those places. So follow me there. And until next time, and again, I fucking love the shit out of both of you. You guys, Monday is my favorite night of the week, I think, with all the shit. So I love the shit out of both of you guys. And yeah, so Infinity Pool next week. And if you try to keep Kin, you're getting thrown off a cliff. Just thrown off a cliff. Until next week.
Cronenberg!